Good morning, friends. I miss them. Hi, Michelina. Michelina says, good old morning, Kathy. I don't know if that's a typo or not, but I like it. Thanks for leading. You're welcome. It's so windy here. Oh, yeah, I think we're getting a string of like true fall weather here coming up. I'm gonna go grab some water from my paints. Just a moment. Nicolina says that was a typo. Hi, Katie. Pamela's here. Morning. I'm in Los Altos heading to Guerneville today. Not a great morning for driving, wind and rain. Yeah, Michelina was just talking about the wind. So, but it sounds like maybe your trip to Guerneville will be a cozy one. You know, stay inside and read. And I'm about a third of the way through Savannah's last book, and all I want to do is sit and read today. Darn job. I would love to just read it and finish it. Which I may have time to do after work. We'll see. I hope you brought lots of art supplies. Good morning, Amy. So you've reached our Mandala universes, and this is a cozy little corner on the internet where we connect with others in the world, and we check in with ourselves, and we draw circles. A mandala is just a circle. There's no rules about making mandalas, and we welcome new people. We are always happy to have you as part of our circle. Here, they're coming. Miss M says there's a patch of blue sky on this brisk, quiet morning. Cheryl says good morning. Good morning. Jan says good morning. Feeling tight in the shoulders. I've been feeling tight in my neck, and I keep saying to myself, you need to do those yoga classes that are so good for your neck. And have I done them? No. But I do have a couple of really good ones for shoulders and neck. So if you're interested, I could send them to you, Jan. I only do yoga at home. I mean, I occasionally go to a class, but I really prefer to do it upstairs in my own bedroom. Pamela says, feeling loved. Miss M says, hi, Cheryl and Pamela. McLeana says, I'm going to yoga at night. Need a massage for my neck. Yeah. Pamela says, haha, the heart emoji covered up part of what you wrote, Jan, and I read feeling tight in the shoulds. Okay, Jan, I'll send those to you. There's a couple of really good ones. So we're getting some check-ins. I'm checking in full. We had dinner with friends last night, and they did a baked potato bar, and it was amazing. I mean, the food was so yummy. He's actually a chef, so yeah, I mean, there was roasted corn and black beans and roasted vegetables and bacon and other meats for the meat eaters, and cheese and guacamole and sour cream and just all the Fritos, because who doesn't love a Frito on a baked potato? I love a Frito on a baked potato. Not that I've ever had it before, but I love it now. But the potatoes were so big, and I took the smallest one I could find, but it was like this big. I mean, and it didn't even cross my mind to cut it in half. And yeah, I don't even want coffee. I'm just drinking water this morning. Amy says, just stepped outside, fresh northwest air, abundant bird conversations all around me, crisp leaves, feeling alive. That's right. You're in Portland, right? Portland? I know you were flying to the northwest. I think it's Portland. Maybe it's Seattle. Michaelinus is feeling a mix of fun and free and frustration. Well, at least it's alliterative. I'm just going to put full down in my... Write that down. Not that I'll forget it, because I feel it through and through. So let's do a little grounding before we get to our books and our pages, our papers, our circles. I don't have a reading. I kind of forgot that I was leading until like 1 minute to 8, so that didn't give me enough time to grab something. But let's just wing it this morning. Cheryl says downpour last night, rain washed sleep. Yeah. All right. So find your grounding posture. Uncross my legs. Let my body notice, my brain notice my body, the weight of my legs on the chair, the support that the chair is providing. I can feel the cool island under my hands and my forearms as they rest on it. I can hear the dryer upstairs. Cars going by outside. What do you hear? I invite you to just be soothed by the sounds that you feel around you, noticing them without judgment. And be grateful for your ears. And I invite you to go a little deeper into yourself, into your brain. Maybe you can reach even deeper down into what you might call your soul, your essence, your being. And I'll invite you to listen there. What do you hear? And if the experience of hearing what you're hearing causes you to tense up, I invite you to physically relax your body again, lower your shoulders, relax your abdomen, relax your forehead, and then listen again. If what you hear sounds judgmental, negative, you can reframe what you're hearing. You can push back on what you're hearing. Or you can simply acknowledge what you're hearing. You might even try a yes and response. And if it was a more negative or judgmental voice that you heard deep within you, you might want to say in response, "You're loved. You're enough. You're okay. You're safe." And I just want to say thank you for being. Thank you for being. And then when you're ready, you can bring your awareness back up into your physical space and just listen one more time and see if you notice anything else that you weren't hearing the first time. I hear a clock ticking that I didn't notice the first time. And the refrigerator humming. Things I don't usually notice. And then when you're ready, you can come back to the circle and we will jump on the page. My parents would never lie for me when I lived at home, which I respect. But there were some times when, like, a boy would call and I didn't want to talk to him. And my mom kind of had a code. She would always say, oh, hi, Brian, or oh, hi, Mike, or whatever. And then say, let me see if I can find her. And if I didn't want to talk to them, I would go in the bathroom, get in the shower, and literally jump in the shower. And my mom would go back and say, you know what? She just jumped in the shower. When I said, we'll jump on the page, it made me think of that. To be fair, though, I always wanted to talk to Brian. He was not one of them that I needed to jump in the shower for. I would venture to say that Brian was my first love. So it is a gloomy, it's not raining, but it is gloomy. The clouds are out, which is unusual here. We've had several cloudy days in the last week. I kind of like it just for a change, but I'll tell you, we really do get spoiled by the sun here in Nevada. It is a very, very sunny place. I shared yesterday in the chat that my husband and I had gone up to Black Rock Desert on Saturday, and it was interesting because it was raining here in Carson City when we left. Black Rock's about a 2-hour drive from here, and by the time we got to Black Rock, it was a beautiful sunny blue sky day, and it stayed that way all day long. It was lovely. Beautiful, beautiful day. And of course, we took a tour of a place called Fly Ranch that is owned by the Friends of the Black Rock Desert. Private property, and so you have to pay for a tour if you want to go see it. And they have some Burning Man art there, you know, things that artists had left behind intentionally. They can't leave it on the desert. The desert, Burning Man is leave no trace, but they can, you know, donate it somewhere. And they have a few pieces that were donated to Fly Ranch. But of course, there was a gal on the tour that has been to Burning Man a couple of times, and the tour guide works at Burning Man every year as a conservationist. That's his job, is to go around and educate people about Leave No Trace. And attended many years before that just as a participant. And I've never said that I wanted to do Burning Man, but after hearing his stories and the stories of the gal that has gone a couple of times, I think I want to experience it just once. So I think I've added it to my bucket list. To go to Burning Man. My husband has zero interest in going to Burning Man, so I will need to find a companion. I don't think it's something I want to go to alone. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not high on the bucket list. It's not like one of those like, I got to do this in the next couple of years kind of bucket list things. But it's on there. Miss M says, I went years ago. Such fun. I'd go. I thought about you while I was there, Miss M, because I remember you saying that you had been there. I mean, the logistics of it, even just hearing this guy talk about the logistics of what it takes to, organize 80,000 people in the desert. He told us they spent last year over $10 million just on porta potties, which is so crazy. Miss M says, all the art was so incredible, and the thought that everything disappears is amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I took pictures of the Black Rock Desert, the playa, when I was there, and you would never know that there had been 80,000 people there in June. Just, there's no indication. We have quite a bit of Black Rock art in the Reno Basin. There's a lot that gets donated here, which is wonderful. I love seeing it all. But yeah, I mean, that was the thing the gal said. Like, she said, you see art at Black Rock or at Burning Man that you just would never see ever, in any other context. And that's the part that and just the gifting economy, like just being at a place that's completely cash free, no payments, just that kind of like the best of humanity, just kindly sharing from what you have, I think is so cool. The guy was saying, like, literally, like, you could have something that had like the most obscure battery in the world, and you could find someone at Burning Man who would have one and give it to you. Or like he joked that, like, oh, my truck axle broke. Oh, I happen to have one of those here in my tent. Like, just like, it just sounds really like a cool experience. So the labyrinth, I don't know if all of you saw the pictures that I posted, but there's a labyrinth on the Fly Ranch property that was built during COVID by a gal named Mystic, who is one of the original founders of Burning Man. And she opens the gate to Fly Ranch every Sunday at 2 p.m. and walks the labyrinth, and then gives a little talk. There's a couple of benches, and she gives a little talk. And I told Asia next spring I'm gonna come walk the labyrinth with Mystic. This sounds amazing. So if anyone wants to come over to Carson City and stay with me and then go over to Fly Ranch and do that, I would do that with you. Cheryl says a good friend was going in his 70s. You have plenty of time. I do have plenty of time. Pamela says my mandala words are celestial. Miss M says the flaming art was amazing at night. Miss M says, yeah, I got a flat tire and someone just gave me a new one for my bicycle. Yeah. Yeah, that part sounds really cool. There was a house in Gerlach, which is the closest town. There's only 120 residents, but there's a house there that had, the backyard was full of bicycles. Like, there was probably 1,000 bikes in this backyard. They're just lined up, one after the other, next row, lined up, all the whole backyard. And they rent them every year to burners. So they probably make a pretty penny. But they're out there just exposed to the elements, so I'm not sure how great a shape they're all in, but yeah, it was fascinating. And Gerlach is a funny little town. Like, the guy was telling us about living there, and like they have a wiffle ball tournament every summer, and they have a pub crawl where people just turn their garages into bars, and they just do this pub crawl from house to house. Sounds like there's an awful lot of drinking there. Yeah, it was really a fun tour. Oh man, I think I'm still waking up. But what a lovely way to start my morning. I don't know what my mandala is saying to me. Miss M says, I'd love to turn my garage into a bar. Yeah. All right, friends, if anybody else has words that have surfaced, now's a great time to share them. I think mine is saying, I still need to think about it. I have thoughts, but I can't quite put them into words yet. Miss M says, thanks, Kathy. McLeana says, dance when words don't work. KG says, I'm willing to be grounded. Thanks for joining me. Have a great Monday, everyone.